Hey everyone, welcome back to Maths Nation. Today we're going to be going through the 2024 May Paper 1 Non-Calculator Foundation Tier paper. We'll be going through each and every question step by step to make sure that we get full marks. Let's get into it. Question 1 says, write down the number 18,475 correct to the nearest thousand. So the thousand digit is this 8 here. And so we look to the number to its right, which is this 4. And as 4 is less than 5, we're going to round down. And so 18,475 correct to the nearest thousand is 18,000. Question 2 says, write 0.3 as a percentage. To change a decimal place to a percentage, we always multiply by 100. So it's 0.3 multiplied by 100. And so what we do is we move the decimal place to the right twice because there's 2 zeros in 100. So 1, 2, so that's 30. So that's 30%. Question 3 says, write down the mathematical name for the type of angle marked y. Well, y is greater than 180 degrees, as 180 degrees is a straight line. And any angle that's greater than 180 degrees is known as a reflex angle. Question 4 is asking us to write these numbers in order of size. Start with the smallest number. So the smallest number is going to be 0.03, then 0.1, 0.16, 0.2, and then 0.21. Question 5 says, find the square root of 64. And so the square root of 64 is asking which number multiplied by itself gives us 64, and so that's 8. Question 6 says, Ryan buys 4 cakes at £1.30 each, 2 identical tins of soup, and Ryan pays with a £10 note. He gets £1.80 in change. How much does Ryan pay for each tin of soup? So let's work out exactly how much he paid in total. Well, we know he paid with a £10 note and he got £1.80 back. So that's £10 minus £1.80. We can do 0 minus 0, which is 0. We can't do 0 minus 8, so we borrow. And we can't borrow from a 0, so we borrow from the 1. So this 1 becomes 0, and we carry the 1 over. And then this 10 becomes 9, and we carry the 1 over here. So that's 10 minus 8, which is 2, and 9 minus 1, which is 8. And so he spends a total of £8.20. So total spend. Now, we know he bought 4 cakes at £1.30. So the total for the cakes is £1.30 multiplied by 4. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 3 is 12. We put the 2 there, the decimal place, and we carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus the 1 is 5. And so he spends £5.20 on 4 cakes. And so to figure out how much he spends on 2 identical tins of soup, we do the total amount, which is £8.20, minus the amount he spends on 4 cakes, which is £5.20. That's 0 minus 0, which is 0, 2 minus 0, 2, which is 0, and 8 minus 5, which is 3. So he spends £3 on 2 tins of soup. And so if we know that 2 tins of soup is £3, how much is 1 tin of soup? Well, it's just the £3 divided by 2, which is £1.50. So 1 tin of soup costs him £1.50. Question 7 says, the table shows the number of hours that Lena and Pavel worked on each of 4 days last week. On the grid, draw a suitable diagram or chart for this information. So we're going to use a bar chart to display this information. The y-axis is going to have the number of hours worked, and the x-axis is going to be the days in which they worked. So we have 0, 1, and we know we're going to go up to at least 9, as 9 was the maximum number of hours worked during the week. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we'll go up to 10 for completeness. So this is the number of hours. And we have the days of the week at the bottom. So this is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Now, as we're showing information for two different people, we need to make sure that we have a key for them. And so we'll have Lena in gold bars and Pavel in, say, purple. And so now all we need to do is draw our bar charts. So on Wednesday, we know that Lena worked up to 6 hours. And Pavel worked 7. On Thursday, Lena worked 9. And Pavel worked 6. On Friday, Lena worked 8. So that's there. And Pavel worked 5. And on Saturday, both Lena and Pavel worked 6 hours. And so now that we've drawn our bar charts, we just need to make sure that we've color coordinated them to match the key. So the first bar in all 4 of them represents Lena's hours. Like so. And the second bar will be for Pavel's hours. And so that is how our bar chart will look. Just make sure that when you're doing this in your exam, you're using a ruler and you're coloring a lot better than I am. Question 8 says OA, OB, and OC are 3 straight lines. Work out the size of the angle marked X. Well, we can see that all these angles are around a point. And so the angles around the point add up to 360 degrees. And so we can say 360 minus 220 minus 90 will give us angle X. And so angle X is equal to 50 degrees. Part 2 says give a reason for your answer. Well, as we said before, angles around a point add up to 360 degrees. Question 9 says, here is a number machine. Part A is asking us to work out the output when the input is 13. So if the input is 13, the first thing that the number machine does is multiply by 2. So 13 multiplied by 2 is 26. We then subtract 10. So 26 minus 10 is 16. Part B says, work out the input when the output is 28. So now we're starting from the end. So our output is 28. If we're going backwards, we do the opposite. So we're adding 10. That gives us 38. And then we divide by 2. So 38 divide by 2, and that's equal to 19. Part C says, show that there is a number for which the output is the same as the input. So in order to prove this, we can say that the input is X and it needs to be the same as the output, so the output is also X. And so what we do to the input is we multiply it by 2, so 2x, and then we minus 10 from it, so 2x minus 10, and that has to be equal to the output, which is also X. And so all we need to do now is figure out what the value of x is going to be. So we're going to collect all the like terms. So we're going to bring the x to this side, and we'll move this minus 10 to that side. And so that becomes 2x minus x is equal to 10, and 2x minus x we know is just x, so our value is 10. And that is the answer. Question 10 says, there are 24 cows and 36 sheep on a farm. Write as a ratio the number of cows to the number of sheep. Give your ratio in its simplest form. So it says 24 cows to 36 sheep. So we can divide both of these two numbers by 12. So if we do that, that's 2 to 3. And that's as small as we go in terms of the ratio. So that's 2 to 3. Question 11a says, work out minus 12 divided by minus 4. So we have minus 12 divided by minus 4. As we are dividing two negative numbers, we know that the answer is going to be positive, and 4 goes into 12 3 times, so the answer is positive 3. Find the value of 2 to the power of 5. So 2 to the power of 5 is just 2 multiplied by 2, multiplied by 2, multiplied by 2, and multiplied by 2. So that's 2 times 2, which is 4, 4 times 2, which is 8, 8 times 2, which is 16, and then 16 times 2, which is 32. Write one pair of brackets in this calculation so that the answer is correct. So we need the answer to equal 2, and so if you put brackets around the 3 plus 2, that should give us the answer. Let's give that a go. So 3 plus 2 is 5, so 30 divided by 5, which is equal to 6, and then 6 minus 4 is equal to 2. Question 12 says, the diagram shows a triangle and a rectangle. The perimeter of the rectangle is a quarter of the perimeter of the triangle. Work out the length of the rectangle. So the perimeter is just the length of the outside. And so the perimeter of the triangle is equal to 36 add 30 add 14, and that's equal to 80. So the perimeter of the triangle is 80. Now the perimeter of the rectangle is just all sides added together. Well, this is also the side length, and this is 4 centimeters. And so the perimeter of the rectangle is just 4 plus 4 plus L plus L. And that simplifies to 8 plus 2L. Now the question says that the perimeter of the rectangle is a quarter of the perimeter of the triangle. And so if we want to equate them, we say 1/4 of 80 is the perimeter of the rectangle, which is 8 plus 2L. 80 divided by 4 is 20. So 20 is equal to 8 plus 2L. If we make L the subject, we firstly need to take the 8 to the other side. So that's 2L is equal to 20 minus 8. And that is equal to 12. And so L is equal to 12 divided by 2. And therefore the length is 6. Question 13a says, there are only £10 notes and £20 notes in a wallet. Ali takes at random a note from the wallet. Write down the probability that Ali takes a note with a value of more than £5. Well, all of the notes are going to be greater of value more than £5, and so that's 100%. And as we're dealing with the probability is always out of 1. So the answer is 1. Part B says, there are only 1p coins and 2p coins in a bag. The total value of the coins in the bag is 40 pence. The total value of 1p coins is the same as the total value of the 2p coins. Simon takes at random a coin from the bag. Find the probability that Simon takes a 1p coin. Well, we know that the total value of 1p coins has to be the same as the total value of the 2p coins. And so as a ratio, 1p coins to 2p coins, well, we need to have twice the amount of 1p coins. And so it's going to be 2 to 1. When you're dealing with ratios, the total is always important. So it's 2 plus 1, which is equal to 3. And so the probability or the ratio of getting a 1p coin is 2 out of the total, which is 3. Question 14 is asking us to work out 273 multiplied by 54. So we'll use a column method. We have 273 multiplied by 54. So 3 times 4 is 12. We put the 2 there and we carry the 1 here. 4 times 7 is 28, plus the 1 is 29. We carry the 2 over. And 4 times 2 is 8, plus the 2 is 10. Now, this is 5 times 3, but it's actually 50 times 3, so we're going to put a 0 here. So 5 times 3 is 15. Put the 5 there, you carry the 1. 5 times 7 is 35, plus the 1 is 36, so we're going to put a 6. And we're going to carry the 3. And 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13. And now we just need to add these two values together. 2 plus 0 is 2. 9 plus 5 is 14. We'll put the 4 there and carry the 1. 6 plus 0 plus 1 is 7. 1 plus 3 is 4. And 1 by itself. So our final answer is 14,742. Question 15 says, Tessa recorded the times that 15 adults took to complete a run. She showed her results in a stem and leaf diagram. Part A says, find the median. So the median is just the middle number. And to find the middle number, we take the total number of sets, in our case 15. We add 1 and we divide it by 2. So that's 16 divided by 2, which is equal to 8. So the 8th number in this list is going to be the middle number. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our middle number, our median, is 64 minutes. Part B says find the range. So the range is just the largest number minus the smallest number. So we can see that the largest number is 81 and the smallest number is 45. And so using our column method, we're going to take 10 from here and carry over the 1. So that's 11 minus 5, which is 6, and 7 minus 4, which is 3. So the answer is 36 minutes. Part C says, Tessa also recorded the times that 15 children took to complete the run. For the children, the median was 75 minutes. Compare the times that the adults took with the times that the children took. So as the median for the adults is smaller than the median for the children, we can say that the adults were faster. So the adults were faster than the children because they have a smaller median. And what is the difference in the median? Well, it's 11 minutes because the children took 75 minutes. The median for the adults, as we worked out in part A, was 64. And so that's 11 minutes faster. Question 16 says, batteries are sold in packs of 4, in packs of 8, and in packs of 12. A pack of 4 batteries costs £1.80, a pack of 8 batteries costs £3.20, and a pack of 12 batteries costs £6. Which pack gives the best value for money? You must show how you get your answer. So the way in which we're going to work this out is we just need to work out how much one battery costs for each of the pack, and whichever one is the cheapest is the best value for money. So if we label our packs, we'll call this pack A, we call this pack B, and we call this pack C. So for pack A, we know that 4 batteries is £1.80, and so for 1 battery, it's going to be the £1.80 divided by 4, and that's going to cost us 45 pence. For pack B, it's 8 batteries, which costs us £3.20. And so for 1 battery, it's going to be £3.20 divided by 8, which is equal to 40 pence. So right away we know that pack B is better for us. And so for pack C, we're going to finally do the same thing. So that's 12 batteries, which costs us £6. And so for one battery, it's the £6 divided by 12, which is 50 pence. And so from our answers, we can see that pack B is the cheapest per battery, which gives us the best value for money. So the answer is pack B. Question 17 says solve 2 multiplied by 4x minus 5 divided by 18. So all we need to do is make x a subject and work out what that value is. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this 2. So it's multiplying the entire side of the left by 2, and so we're going to divide by 2. And so that becomes 4x minus 5 is equal to 18 divided by 2. And so 4x minus 5 is equal to 9. The next thing that we want to do is we want to take this minus 5 to the other side, which becomes plus 5. And so we have 4x is equal to 9 plus 5. And so 4x is equal to 14. And then finally, we want to get rid of the 4. And so we're going to take the multiply 4 to the other side to become divide by 4. We'll do this here. So that's x is equal to 14 over 4. And that's our answer. And as a decimal place, that will be 3.5. So x is equal to 3.5. Question 18 says, write down the value of 10 to the power of 0. So our rules of indices tell us that anything to the power of 0, so x to the power of 0, is always equal to 1. So 10 to the power of 0 is always equal to 1. So our answer is 1. Question 19 says, describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. So in order to answer this question, we're going to pick a point on triangle A, let's say this point here, and we're going to see how far along we need to move the x-axis and how far along we need to move along the y-axis to get to the same point on triangle B. So we can see that the same point on triangle B is here. So it's going to be along the x-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so whenever we're showing transformations, we always have the x at the top. So it's 5 at the top. And then along the y-axis, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, as we're going down, it's going to be negative. And so it's going to be negative 4. And then we're going to put brackets around it. So our answer is 5 on the x-axis and negative 4 on the y-axis. Question 20 says, here are the first 4 terms of an arithmetic sequence, 1, 5, 9, and 13. Find an expression in terms of n for the nth term of this sequence. So let's number our terms. We've got term 1, term 2, term 3, and term 4. And so these are what n are. So we ask ourselves, what are the difference between 1 and 5, which is plus 4, 5 and 9 is also plus 4, and 9 and 13 is also plus 4. And so the difference between each term is 4. And so we're going to multiply n by 4 to make the first part of our expression. Now, if we try that with our first term, we know that the final answer should equal to 1. So that's 4 multiplied by 1, which is 4. Now, how do we get from 4 to 1? Well, we minus 3. So our updated expression is going to be 4n minus 3. Now we can test that with any other terms. So let's try when n equals 4. And we know that the answer should equal to 13. So 4 multiplied by 4 minus 3. That's equal to 16 minus 3, which is equal to 13. And that is the term 4. So we know that our expression is 4n minus 3. Question 21a is asking us to work out 3 4/5 minus 1 2/3. Whenever we want to add or subtract fractions, we have to make sure that the denominator is the same. Now, these are proper fractions, and so we need to change them into improper fractions. So how do we do that? Well, let's start with 3 4/5. We take the big number in front and multiply it by the denominator. So 3 times 5. and then we add the numerator 4, and that becomes our new numerator. So that's equal to 15 plus 4 over 5, which is equal to 19 over 5. If we do the same thing for 1 2/3, that's 1 times 3, which is 3 plus the 2 over 3. So that's 3 plus 2 over 3, 5 over 3. So now that we have changed these proper fractions into improper fractions, we now need to get the same denominator. So we're going to multiply this fraction by the denominator of the second fraction, which is 3. So top and bottom by 3. And we do the same thing with this, but we multiply it by 5. And so the first fraction is 19 over 5 multiplied by 3 over 3. And that's equal to 57 over 5. And 5 over 3 multiplied by 5 over 5 is equal to 25 over 15. And now you can see we have the same denominators, and so we can subtract them from each other. So 57 minus 25 over 15 is equal to 32 over 15. Now, as the question was given in a proper fraction, we're going to change this into a proper fraction. So we ask ourselves, how many times does 15 go into 32? Well, 15 goes into 32 twice. And we're left with 2. So that's 2 over 15. So our answer is 2 and 2/15. Part B says, Kevin was asked to work out 2 1/3 multiplied by 5 over 8. Here is his working and his answer. Kevin's answer is wrong. What mistake has Kevin made? So if we go through Kevin's working out, the first thing that he's done is he's changed the 2 1/3 into a improper fraction. And so that's 2 multiplied by 3 plus the 1 over 3. That's 6 plus 1 over 3, which is equal to 7 over 3. So he's done that correctly. Now, if you check his second part, that's 7 over 3 multiplied by 5 over 8. So if we do that, 7 times 5 is 35, and 3 times 8 is 24. So that's correct as well. The last part, he's changed his improper fraction into a proper fraction. So we ask ourselves, how many times does 24 go into 35? Well, it goes in once. And what is left over? Well, that's 35 minus 24, which is 11. So his answer should have been 1 and 11 over 24. Question 22 says, the diagram shows a plan of a floor. Petra is going to cover the floor with paint. Petra has 3 tins of paint. There are 2.5 litres of paint in each tin. Petra thinks that 1 litre of paint will cover 10 meters squared of floor. Assuming Petra is correct, does she have enough paint to cover the floor? You must show all your working. Well, let's find out exactly how much she has of paint. She's got 3 tins. Each one is 2.5 litres. And so 3 times 2.5 is 7.5. So Petra has a total of 7.5 litres of paint. The next thing that we need to do is we need to work out the area of the plan of the floor. So right now we have an irregular shape. We're going to cut this shape into 2. We can either cut it here, or we can cut it here. So let's go with the first option, and we call this shape A, and we call this shape B. So area of A is its base, which is 6, multiplied by the height here. And that's just going to be the 8 meters minus the 5 meters, which is 3 meters. So 6 times 3, which is 18 meters squared. For shape B, the area of B is equal to 10. So 10 multiplied by 5, which is 50 meters squared. And so to get the total area, it's just 50 plus 18, which is 68 meters squared. Now we know we have 7.5 liters of paint, and Petra thinks that 1 liter of paint will cover 10 meters squared of floor. So if we have 7.5 liters, to get from 1 to 7.5, we multiply by 7.5. And so we have to do the same thing to the other side of the ratio. 10 times 7.5 is 75. So in theory, we should be able to cover 75 meters squared of floor using the paint. And we've just worked out that the total area is 68. So as the 75 is greater than the 68, she is correct. Part B says, actually, 1 litre of paint will cover 11 meters squared of floor. Does this affect your answer to part A? You must give a reason for your answer. Well, the area of the floor hasn't changed, so that stays at 68 meters squared. Now, it's telling us that 1 litre of paint will cover 11 meters squared of floor. We have 7.5 liters, so we multiply this side by 7.5 to give us 7.5 liters. And we have to do the same thing to this side, multiply by 7.5, and that gives us 82.5. So no, it does not affect our answer. Question 23 says, here is a Venn diagram, write down all the numbers that are in set P complement. Now, P complement basically just means everything that is not P. So everything that is not P, which is here. So that gives us 10, 11, 13, 14, 16, and 17. Part B says, a number is chosen at random from the universal set. Find the probability that this number is in the set P union Q. So union means and, so we want all the numbers that are in P and all the numbers that are in Q. Well, we've highlighted all the numbers that are in P. It's 12, 18, and 15. But we also have all these numbers in Q as well. So in total, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 numbers that satisfy P and Q. Now it's asked us for the probability. So we need the total number of numbers. So that's another 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 plus 4 is 9. So there's a total of 9 numbers. And so our probability is 5 over 9. Question 24 says, Sophie drives a distance of 513 kilometers on a motorway in France. She pays 0.81 euros for every 10 kilometers she drives. Work out an estimate for the total amount that Sophie pays. Well, as we're dealing with estimates, we're going to round our numbers. So I'm going to round 513 kilometers to 500. And I'm going to round 0.81 euros to 0.8. So the question says that she is charged 0.81 euros. Now that we've changed that to 0.8 for every 10 kilometers. So we know that she travels 500 kilometers. And to get from 10 to 500, we multiply by 50. And so we have to do the same thing to the other side. It's 0.8 multiplied by 50. And that should give us 40. So an estimate of 40 euros is how much she pays. Question B says, is your answer to part A an underestimate or an overestimate? Give a reason for your answer. Well, it's going to be an underestimate. And the reason for this is because we have rounded both the distance and the amount charged down. Question 25 says, here is a straight line L drawn on a grid. Find an equation for L. Well, we know that the general formula for a straight line is y is equal to mx plus c. We know m is the gradient, and we work that out by finding the change in y, which is y2 minus y1, over the change in x, which is x2 minus x1. C is just the y-intercept, i.e., where does the line cross the y-axis? So let's work out m. In order to do so, we need to find 2 points on our graph. We'll take this point here and this point here. So this is 0, 3, and minus 2, 0. So to work out the gradient, we pick one as our number 2 and one as our number 1. So we'll say that this coordinate 0, 3 is 2. So y2 is 3 minus y1, which is 0, over x2, which is 0, minus x1, which is minus 2. So minus 2. 3 minus 0 is 3. And 0 minus 2 is plus 2. So our gradient is 3 over 2. The next thing that we need to do is work out what the y-intercept is, c. Now, looking at our graph, we can see that the line L crosses the y-axis at the point 3. And so we can say that c is equal to 3. So if we plug this into our equation, we have y is equal to 3 over 2x plus 3. Part B says M is a different straight line with the equation y equals 5x. Write down the equation of a straight line parallel to M. So the key word here is parallel. When two lines are parallel, we say that they have the same gradient. Now, looking at the equation, we can see that the gradient is 5. So all we need to do is write any equation of any line that has the gradient 5x. So we can say, for example, y is equal to 5x, i.e. this line also has a gradient of 5 plus 1. Question 26 says, Kasim has some small jars, some medium jars, and some large jars. He has a total of 400 jars. 3/8 of the jars are empty. For the empty jars, the number of small jars to the number of medium jars is 3 to 4, and the number of medium jars to the number of large jars is 1 to 2. Work out the percentage of Kasim's jars that are empty small jars. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to work out the total number of empty jars. We know that that is 3/8 multiplied by 400 total jars, and that is 150. So we know we have 150 empty jars. Now for the empty jars, we have a ratio of small to medium jars, which is 3 to 4, and we have medium to large jars of 1 to 2. So we can combine both of these ratios, but we just got to make sure that the medium jars are the same number. So we're going to multiply this ratio by 4. And that should give us small to medium is 3 to 4. And medium to large is now 4 times 1, which is 4. And 2 times 4, which is 8. So now that we have the same number of medium ratios, we can add these or combine these ratios together. So it's small to medium to large is 3 to 4 to 8. Now, whenever we're dealing with ratios, we need to find what the total is. So that's 3 plus 4 plus 8, which is equal to 15. And so the ratio of empty small jars is 3 over 15 multiplied by the total number of small jars, which we worked out was 150, and that is equal to 30 empty small jars. Now the question has asked us the percentage of Kasim's jars that are empty small jars. Well, we know that the total is 400, and so to get a ratio or a percentage, it's 30 divided by the total amount, which is 400. That's the same as saying 3 over 40. And then we multiply this by 100 to get a percentage. And that would give us 7.5%. So 7.5% of Kasim's jars are empty small jars. Question 27 says, in a sale, normal prices are reduced by 30%. The sale price of a TV is £280. Work out the normal price of the TV. So we know that £280 represents 70% as it's been reduced by 30. And so we can say that 280 is equal to 70%, or 70 over 100 multiplied by the original price. And so if we rearrange this equation to get original price as the subject, that will look like this. Original price is equal to 280 multiplied by 100 over 70. That is equal to 28,000 over 70, which is equal to, we can cancel the zeros out, we've got 2,800 divided by 7. Now to make this division easier, we can ask ourselves, okay, how many times does 7 go into 28? Well, that's 4, and then we have the 2 zeros, so that's 400. So the original price of the TV is £400. Question 28 is asking us to solve x plus 11 is less than or equal to 5 minus half x. So we need to make x a subject, and so we can say x plus 11 is less than or equal to 5 minus 1/2 x. We take the minus half x to this side, and we take the plus 11 to this side. And so we have x plus 1/2 x is less than or equal to 5 minus 11. And so that is the same as saying 3 over 2x is less than or equal to minus 6. Now we can multiply both sides by 2 because we want to take this divide 2 to the other side. And so that's 3x is less than or equal to minus 6 times 2. 3x is less than or equal to minus 12. And then finally, we want to divide both sides by 3. And so that's x is less than or equal to 12 over 3. X is less than or equal to 4. So that is our answer. X is less than or equal to 4. And that brings us to the end of the paper. I hope that helped, and I hope that you were able to follow through and understand how we tackled each and every question. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell.